TV umpire to director, we have a player review. Can we rock and roll, please?
Welcome to episode 156, the friendliest cricket podcast. We started BNP, Bits and Pieces, exactly 3 years ago with a pilot episode after a Boxing Day Test match in South Africa. Our first real episode was on the 8th of January 2022. And here we are 3 years later to talk about a Boxing Day Test match in Melbourne that concluded just yesterday. We will talk about that with a bunch of people who were at the game. But this MCG Test match that finished yesterday was much more than just a test match for all of us in the group. For those of you who don't know, we are all part of a WhatsApp group which has, I think, about 50 people, Iman.
49.
49. Okay. 49 people from all over the world. The WhatsApp group keeps buzzing all around the day, 24/7, 365, as they say. Last week, many people from this group got together in Melbourne to watch the Boxing Day Test. Apparently, a total of 373,691 people saw the test match at the MCG over 5 days, a record for Boxing Day Test match attendances. And our group contributed nearly 75 of those over the 5 days, maybe more, who knows. People kept coming and going.
Correct.
The result did not go India's way, and I must admit, I personally still have a hollow feeling, along with my friend here, Iman. Not because India lost, which it did. I do not engage with my sporting teams, and nor does Iman, nor does PGK, nor does Bodhi, nor does Vishal, to see them win. But we engage with it to see them play well and express themselves adequately. I don't believe they did. We'll see what the others feel. The hollowness remains. It will disappear over time. But the memories created with friends will remain forever. And that's what we're here to talk about today. And some of these friends are here today. So gather around and listen to our tales of despair, anguish, pain, and happiness. This Boxing Day Test tale needs to be told. For India, at the MCG, fell and left us cold. The Aussies stuck with pace and guile, and they were bold. And here we are with broken hearts and with many a story to behold. This is no ordinary podcast. This is therapy after the match. So here we have PGK. Say hi, PGK.
Hi.
And Bodhi, who's sitting with him in a room downstairs somewhere. Hey, Bodhi.
Hello.
This is also Bodhi's debut podcast. Yeah. Welcome to the Bits and Pieces podcast, Bodhi.
Thank you.
Throw yourself
Thank you so much.
Bodhi is the Sam Constas of
He'll hit sixes right from day one, reverse scoops and ramps.
Yeah.
Iman, say hi.
Hey guys.
And we have Vishal sitting in his own house.
It is Vishal's second match.
Vishal's second match. Is that it?
Second match on, you mean second time on
Bits
the
and
podcast?
Pieces.
Yeah. Second time.
Oh, I thought you'd done one more after the intro one, but you've been in hibernation as well.
No, just one.
There you go. So like the Sydney Test, which we are going to preview perhaps, this is Vishal's second test match like Constas. So in addition to some of us who attended, there were many who saw the match vicariously through the photos and experiences we threw into the WhatsApp group. We thought we'd have some of them to attend to share their sort of vicarious experiences, but no one's here. So guys, here we are. Why don't we start with some observations? PGK, why don't you kick off with some observations? We'll have a few things to talk about, but some broad observations to start with.
Okay. But number one observation is that I disagree. This is not therapy. This is not a day of sadness. This is not us mourning. We are here because we are all together and we experience one of the greatest test matches that has ever been played. And I think that is all it is. Yes, it would have been nice if India had won, but I'm just walking away. I'm still very happy. I came in delighted, excited, hoping for a great test match. I'm leaving fulfilled that we met and we had a wonderful and an amazing test match. For me, the big thing is, I will only say this to people who are listening to this podcast, which is that there's only one thing I'll say, which is you have to be at the MCG on Boxing Day. There is an experience that's unparalleled. Hopefully you will get a good game, and even more hopefully it will be a game that India will win. But even if those two things don't happen, the experience is simply unparalleled, and I will remember it until my last day. This 5 days that we had with all of us together watching one of the test matches of the ages. That's all. There's nothing
Amazing.
else.
Wow.
Everything else is analysis. But that is all. That is the most important thing.
Bodhi, this was your first Melbourne experience, your first test experience, and your first BNP podcasting experience as well. Go for it. What are your observations on the game?
So my observation is that the ending is quite a deserving ending, in the sense, the way I see life is like the Japanese art form of like kintsugi. Like everything is slightly imperfect, and there's that beauty in that imperfection. If India would have pulled up a win, then it would have been too perfect for my lifetime experience. Like, it has been a dream of mine to come and watch a Boxing Day match, to watch a match in MCG, and everything was going well for India at one point of time. We could have easily won if certain things have been a little bit different. But if everything is perfect in life, then life gets boring. So the ultimate result is kind of perfect in that sense.
By the way, I will say this, that it's only after losing that you become philosophical. No one becomes philosophical after winning.
That's true.
Okay? If we had won, we would be immediately talking about all the players. Because we have lost. Now we can only...
That would have been perfect.
Yeah, now we can be philosophical.
Something would have happened then.
Yeah. Now we can be philosophical. So it's okay.
But that's part of the experience, right? Loss tells you how to cope with it. And we have to talk about, and I've got permission from Nitin to be able to talk about Milan and his coping with the losses. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But that was beautiful, Bodhi. Thank you. Now, Vishal, observations, overall observations.
Yeah,
Vishal
I think...
frozen.
for me, I think it was an epic match. Firstly, Boxing Day Test match at the MCG. It is my second time at the MCG for a Boxing Day Test. Last year I was here on day one of the Pakistan versus Australia game, and I was so as a neutral fan, I was so relaxed in the stadium. I came with a book. I came with some food. Although I did come with some food and a book this time as well, but I had no time to sort of open it and relax because the game was just going at such a frenetic pace all 5 days. But yeah, I think it was such a different experience from the last time I was here last year. The vibe in the ground was amazing. I, in fact, was not here on the day one of the game at the stadium because I was busy attending a wedding in India. And to come from that to straight into the MCG for what I initially thought was only going to be day two, but which eventually became day 3, 4, and 5 because the match just kept showing promise of getting more and more exciting. I'm very glad I did because I think, as Praveen said, it was, if you take a step back, it was one of the biggest crowds ever in a test match. It was one of the most epic test matches ever to be a part of. And to take it, for instance, like Australia were 474 in the first innings. After that, to get to a point where we were still heading for a draw in the last hour. So to take the game till that last hour is one of the most phenomenal experiences. So I'm really glad that I was part of the game. I'm very glad I came for the remaining 3 days as well. And obviously it was really good to have such a huge crowd and solidarity in misery at the end because you had so many people watching the game with you. So all in all, a really good experience.
No, so we have all been watching cricket matches on TV, and I instantly start judging like why people do what they're doing. But at least over the last 5 days at MCG, it so happened that अंदर से इतना फटा हुआ था, like, so there was no chance of judgment, so to say. You could see things play out in front of you, and you could see the emotions around how the players on the field, right, are reacting to every moment. And it was like a roller coaster ride. Every hour, it was unpredictable. Like, we just couldn't predict what's going to happen. It had, like, every time you predict that this team is going up, the other team comes up with some punching, right? Every time you thought India was down and out, like the first 2 days, third day we came back. We thought that the match is heading towards a potential draw. Australia came back and won. We thought India is going to win. Then Cummins and Marnus put some random partnerships, right? We thought we're still going to win. Then the randomest of random Boland and Lyon played out. So there was no point around judging somebody, right? I just couldn't get time to judge anybody, to abuse at least. Can't even go and tell that because, even you don't know why is it happening, and you are really feeling the emotion of it, right? Sitting on the ground. So a fabulous experience. I would say mind-numbing experience to a large degree. Also an experience which will potentially, stay with me forever in my life, because MCG is really the mecca of what cricket really has to offer. It's not Lords, for sure. It is not.
Hey, wait, I thought the mecca of cricket was Ahmedabad. No?
Oh.
Last year they said the mecca of cricket. They didn't call it mecca. They used some other word, but they won't use mecca and all. But I thought the ground zero, the holy temple of cricket was
I
Ahmedabad.
thought it is Ayodhya of cricket.
Okay, it is the Ayodhya cricket is Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
Makes more sense.
Yeah.
No,
so,
but I will just say, like, we'll come to the match, but it just because I think a lot of people who have probably watched this podcast have watched the match. That's fine. We'll come to the match, but the MCG, I'm just saying this as an outsider because Mohan and Vishal have lived here, but I think what makes the MCG so incredible is like you realize what it is, what happens when a country cares about cricket and does not care about other things. And when you come to the MCG, even as you're walking to the MCG, you realize that this is a place that, yes, you have a lot of history around it, you have all of those things. But at the end of the day, this is something that has been built for watching cricket in service of people who have come to watch cricket.
correct.
That is how it is. And it comes
Yeah.
with all the little things, like not just the big things. Forget, we care about the big things. Like, please let us have a place to sit. Please let us have water. Please let there not be a pillar in front of my seat. Please let there not be somebody chanting RCB, RCB. All of those things also matter to us. But the little things from when you just come and you reach, like there is somebody standing not at the security gate, but like 20, 30 meters, someone standing at the ground is smiling at you and saying, how are you doing? Welcome. Like, you don't have to do those things.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're doing it, you're not doing it because you're posturing, you're doing it because the people who are doing it are proud of the game. The people who are doing it are proud to be there. The people who are doing it want to do it in service of the fan. Like Nitin has also put out this tweet, which by the way has gone viral, where
I know.
when we were watching the game, people were walking around with like young volunteers with like water cans on their back, ready to give water to anybody who needed, walking around with sunscreen for anybody who wanted to give it.
And gummies.
I mean, and yeah,
Gummy
and-
bears as well.
and
gummy bears. They don't need to do these things. And I'm not even getting to the experience of how it is to buy food, how it is to step out when you meet security guards, how they talk to you. This is an experience that is unparalleled and close to science fiction. Like, I have attended matches in Bangalore, especially in Chinnaswamy. The Chinnaswamy is one of the better stadiums, right? Except for the RCB part. Except for that. Okay. Except for that. It's one of the better stadiums experiences. But the thing is that I've never attended 5 days continuously there. I've only attended like sometimes
Impossible
1
to
day,
attend.
2 days, 3 days. And I think what ends up happening is that because you don't attend like that, you don't really get the match. You don't really get the cricket. You're not really immersed in it.
Yeah.
Like, what the MCG does is that because you don't care about any of this other bullshit, you're not worried about toilets, you're not worried about water, you're not worried about what your kids, whether they are crying, hungry, what's going to happen, you're not thinking about lunch, you're not thinking about breaking, you're not worried about other things. Suddenly now what happens is you get pulled into the cricket. And when you get pulled into the cricket, it becomes a very meditative experience where I think most people will tell you, like people like Iman, Mohan, me, Bodhi, we were there from the first ball of the first day until the last ball of the last day. We did not miss a single ball. We meditated. But when you give that kind of an experience, what happens is it makes Test cricket great.
But let me give you a kid's perspective.
Yes.
here. So my first test match in live was at Eden Gardens.
My sympathies.
As a-
Already my sympathies, but go on. Okay.
as a little kid, and it was also a border Gavaskar Trophy match between India and Australia, where Sachin, I will never forget that Sachin thrashed Shen Wan. He scored not a century but 75 or something like that, and got out. But when you were a kid and you see the enormity of Eden Gardens and that sound, and when you were a kid, you were not worried about the toilets, you were not worried about finding a seat, you were not worried about food. It will be provided for you. To experience that, you will fall in love with the game equally as an MCG.
Great.
Right.
That's such a good perspective. Yeah.
Yes.
So a
Very
few
good.
things.
First of all, can I just say
Go.
what PGK just said?
Huh.
Just one line on that. 100% agree with you, PGK.
वो नहीं है यहाँ पे वरुण मुरली नहीं है. But
I mean, I will just end by saying that this is a great country with
Yeah.
a great love for the sport that is so authentic and real. And I
Yeah.
think experiencing that was incredible.
Yeah.
The couple of things that I'll add to that, PGK and Iman and Bodhi and Vishal, what you said. There is a clip, I think a channel 7 or Fox commentary. Ravi Shastri was in it. I can't remember who was the person who was giving the stats. This is on day 5 when they were pulling the stats of attendances over the years. And there is a reference to a game that happened 90 years ago that topped the attendance from yesterday's game. So yesterday's was, I think, 371,493 or something like that. And the previous highest was, I think, I'll get the number wrong.
It
but
was 1937.
301.
It was 1937 Bradman's test.
Bradman's test, and the total attendance was 310,000. I'll get that number wrong, I'm saying. So 310,000 or something like 301,000 or something like that. And they went past that. And Shastri, I mean, I think these days he's becoming more and more of a really good, exquisite commenter
But
on
why
the
do you
game.
think? Why do you think
Well,
that's happening?
He pulled back. Wait just a second, because he finished his coaching stint. That's why he become a bit more sanguine about shy. But he pulled the commentary back to the table and said, hang on a minute. Let's go back to that stat in 1937. Are you saying that in 1937, 310,000 people were provided for and accommodated at the MCG? And he said almost exactly the point that he made almost exactly the point that you make. You must love the game. You must love its stakeholders. You must love its fans and wanting to bring them into the game for being able to provide for it and accommodate this in the way that you did. From my perspective, and I think Vishal and Adi might agree with this, I was very keen for my friends to have this experience. I mean, I've seen many games at the MCG. I've seen games at a few places, but definitely MCG, Adelaide Oval, and Sydney and Gabba as well. For me, MCG, there's something about the experience over here. And PGK, I'm so glad that you expressed it. And also Iman and Bodhi. It resonates completely with my experience.
But given you just made the point that you have watched many matches in Australia, many.
This was the best.
No, but was it not flexing?
Yeah, of course. If Adi was there, he would have said it.
Yeah.
But since he's not there, I can say it without danger of being labeled a flexer or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, little things like during the game, they were also saying the attendance, right? And I can imagine how they would be talking about attendance if it was in India. In India, it would be, we've got this much attendance, then that IPL horn, okay, they'll all be celebrating. Here it is, we've got this much attendance, and the first thing they say is thank you.
Yeah,
they say thank you, fans, for coming.
Yeah.
Like, we remember that we wanted to attend a Dharamshala game, which got moved to Indore 4 days before the game. And they didn't even say sorry.
Yeah.
So,
nothing.
I mean, there is a gulf. Like, forget about where we are that's why I'm saying again and again, it doesn't matter who won this game, doesn't matter who lost this game. It doesn't matter for me. For me, what this game showed is maybe the two teams are very evenly matched in terms of cricket, but the two nations are vastly different in terms of how they see cricket. It's not even close.
Cricket, yeah. And
100% agree with
it's
PGK.
the little things that PGK talks about right from the train station, and the way, I think Shruti writes about this, and we should probably link it if there is a ability to link it, if there is a blog that she creates. On the very first day, Shruti, who's Nitin's wife, wrote a piece about how welcoming it was and how easy it was to just get from the train station, and everyone is in within 10 minutes of coming to the ramps. You're in, you're out in 5 minutes. It's a huge stadium. It's a massive stadium with nearly 87,000 people on day one, I think it was. For everyone to get out within 5 minutes.
I never stood in queue for more than a minute. I think a minute was probably the worst.
Okay.
Yeah,
One point just wanted to highlight on one specific point which PGK was making, which is experiencing the game. As in experiencing the game, you got to be watching the game for the entirety of it, right? Like if it is a 5-day match, you watch it for all 5 days, all hours, all minutes, all balls, right? Full. Yeah, in Bangalore, right? A very simple thing. And if there's a test match in Bangalore, I will watch it. Come on. So
at the stadium.
At the stadium.
Oh.
At the stadium. So have I. Even I have watched the test match.
But the problem is, in Bangalore, you go in and you cannot come out. If you come out, then you can't go in again.
Yeah.
Now, if that is the constraint which is put on you, naturally what you do, you try and plan your life around it. To say, chalo, main bas ek session dekh leta hu.
Correct.
Because यार मुझे भूख लगेगा, I have to eat. There's nothing to eat.
Correct.
There's absolute nonsense getting sold there, right?
Correct. जब
Leave
विराट
all of
कोहली
that.
बैटिंग करेगा उस टाइम में जाऊंगा.
हाँ,
Like
correct.
all of the stuff you
Yeah,
try.
leave all of that. I also know that I get frustrated, flustered looking at the match, right? And I need some space to just breathe it out.
You get flustered.
Oh, sorry, sometimes. So I'll take one specific example. Day 4, when at the end of fag end of day 4, when Boland and Lyon were batting, like, I was just getting mad, right? Absolutely mad. And I know I was wrong to get mad, but I was getting mad. कि out क्यों नहीं हो रहा है यार? 275 chase कर देंगे, 50 रन अभी बना देंगे, कल आके 225 chase कर लेंगे, because I was pushing India to go for the win in my mind, because मैं अपना देखा. The first instinct was कि हट छोड़ के बाहर चले जाता हूँ, right? And I literally walked out of the stadium,
Yeah.
right? And then I came back in. Had it been Bangalore, I would have walked out.
Go home.
Correct.
फिर
Go
कौन?
home.
चिन्नास्वामी से साइड लेके वो कबन पार्क करते हुए बैंगलोर
Correct.
कीचड़ में सट
No,
जाता.
as in, is it tough to get in or out, you're saying, because of
You
the
can't.
crowds?
No,
or
you
is
can't.
It just,
You can't.
oh,
They
right,
just don't let
it's
you
You're not
out.
allowed.
got you.
So if you get out,
Wow.
you cannot come back in. And I don't
Come back.
understand why. Like,
Yeah.
I've never, logically, nobody has explained this to me. Somebody said to me once that the reason they do that is because, well, you can go out and give your ticket to somebody else and they
So
can
what?
come in. So what? I mean, I don't
So
get it.
what?
So what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
It's very, very weird. Like, you question it like 2 questions later, you don't understand why they do it.
And that's something, I think on day 2 or something like that, I think PGK made a comment that the problem is you have these localized rules that get made locally by local people with no ability to process how it affects anything globally, right? So you just have local rules that even a DSP on this security guard will just make a rule.
No, Mohan, it's not just that. It's also, there is an aspect of class. Like, in the sense that, are you telling me that this, if you step out of the ground, you can't come back, applies if you are in the corporate box at the Chinnaswamy? I don't think so.
Yeah.
The people who are at the corporate box in Chinnaswamy will have beer. The people who are in the corporate box, and I've sat there too. The people who are sitting in that place can
Flex.
come in and out whenever they want to.
Flex.
They can have very good food whenever they want. They can basically sit in air conditioning. They will have great, access to all memorabilia. All of that stuff they will give. But that is because the people who watch the game at the Chinnaswamy are the people who sit there. The people who decide the rules of the Chinnaswamy are the ones who sit there.
Correct.
They are not going to sit in the end stand.
The
in the
broad point,
Chinnaswamy.
PGK, is that I get your point, and I get everyone's point that this has been an unforgettable test, even though India has been on the losing side. I think from the memories that we created, and we'll talk about some of them, we've got a bucket load of memories to last us a lifetime, really. And that's what I want to move on to next, before getting into the stats and the analysis of the various things that changed the game. Let's talk about some of the the main memories that you will carry with you as part of this fight, apart from the arrangements and at the MCG and
now we'll get
how
to the
this
game.
is now let's get to personal memories of the game. I'm going to start with Vishal first.
I think just the crowd, firstly. It's such a huge crowd, tough to ignore it. And when you're watching the match on the television, yes, you can hear a lot of the crowd sounds coming. There's also commentary and stuff. But while you're at the stadium, I think it just becomes so much more personalized because you're part of the crowd as well. And there's so many things happening around you. And I think there were obviously things like the Mexican wave. People are trying to start and they're trying to go around the stadium. You have several players trying to rile up the crowd in different ways. You suddenly hear a huge roar from one side of the stadium and you're wondering what's happening. And then you realize there's a particular player like a Kohli or a Siraj or a Constas who's close to the crowd at that point, and that's what's causing the crowd to yell and to roar as well. So I think the reaction and the behavior of the crowds is something which has stuck in my memory a lot. The way they come to support a particular teammate when they're having a bad time, the way they rallied around Bumrah or a Siraj or an Akashdeep once they've finished their spells, or even a Pat Cummins or a Scott Boland or a Nathan Lyon after they finished bowling, and the way they just cheered, I think that's something which is very unforgettable for me. Yeah, it's just very different to experience that in the ground, I feel. The other thing for me was I was trying to just focus on players when, on the television, the telecast would move from one player to somebody else very quickly because there's some action going on. But for instance, on day 4, by the end, we could see that Bumrah was really, he was run into the ground.
He was finished.
He bowled that last over, got a wicket off a no ball, totally devastated. And then the last ball goes for a 4. Last ball goes for a 4. The Australians in the ground are cheering. The players and the umpires have all started to walk back. And Bumrah just hung in there. Like, he hung in there, I think, for a minute or so, hunched. And he was just, I think he's obviously very tired, but very frustrated as well that his plans didn't go through. And then he didn't walk back with a fifer by the end of the day. I think watching that, like, just a few 100 feet away was really quite something. And then he slowly stood up and then he walked back in. And the same thing the next day. Like, he took 4 balls and then he rattled Nathan Lyon's stumps. And he just stood there and like he gave a death stare to I don't know who, like probably no one in particular. But yeah, just that stare that he gave.
Can I add to that one other, if it's your observation, but may I add one more? So if you add to that, I mean, this is going to be my point, but add it to that. I did notice how at the end of day 4, he just stood there. He just stood there.
Yeah.
He refused to walk back. There was a point, and there's a video that I saw of it later. Rohit asked him if he would, there's a previous spell, if he would bowl one more over, and he said, I'm spent, I'm done.
अब नहीं कर सकता,
right?
जोर नहीं है.
हाँ, जोर नहीं है. Now, add to that, for me, the saddest picture that will be etched from this, from an Indian team perspective, was the way he walked back to the pavilion after he got out. It's a haunting memory, yeah. That's a really nice word.
English.
Yeah.
Learning it. In Melbourne, that's why.
Melbourne,
correct.
Our YouTube comments are going to be wild today. Okay. Okay.
So my theory is just a hypothesis, is just nothing to substantiate it. But I'm putting those 3 things, the 2 plus the walk back. He must be feeling, what am I doing in this team? And this is my view. What else can I do? What am I doing in this? I wish I could use some of Iman's colorful language. What am I doing in this team?
That is not Iman's colorful language, but okay, sure.
No, I paused for a bit. Yeah.
Barely any color.
Black and
Think
white.
of it, right? Just on that part around the 4th day, when Bumrah stood after the day ended, literally Bumrah put Australia on the mat. Like Australia, they were on the mat. Right?
7 down for nothing.
Yes. When Cummins and Labu started, right? Whatever they started. They were literally on the mat. Bumrah had given everything by that time. Because he was basically going at it saying, yaar, these guys are not going to last till, let's say, even mid of session 3, right? Tops. Session 3 early ud jayega. And what he was, the least he expected was the other bowlers to pick up, let's say, 8, 9, 10. Yahi chahiye tha na.
वो नहीं कर रहे थे.
He had given everything away. I don't think he had anything left in him to give, right? We could see him. He was like gone, drained, out. But वो last 3 wicket नहीं ले पा रहे थे हम यार. मतलब हमारे बाकी bowlers वो 3 भी नहीं ले पा रहे, right? So we got stuck there and he had to come back. Then he took a wicket and उसमें भी no ball हो गया, right? So think of that man. He basically had taken India to a position of extreme strength. Like Australia getting dismissed for, let's say, 250, 260 lead, and we starting to bat early in day 4 itself. We are winning this match. Like, it was a match which Bumrah literally wanted for us. That is the max that a bowler could potentially do, right? Who literally got the team. Like, it is like the Sachin of 90s, right? Yeah. Sachin 20 run पहले भी out हो जाएगा तो India will lose. Same. Bumrah सबको out कर दिया, end का 2 लोग छोड़ दिया तो उसमें भी India हार गया.
नहीं, पर वो भी sufficient नहीं था, क्योंकि even if he came out and got the fourth ball पे wicket, still उसका काम खत्म नहीं हुआ था टेस्ट में. Like, it's as if he had not done enough. He still had to come back.
Which is to Hank's point, when he got dismissed, he's like, fuck, what does it take? I have to bat. Bumrah, by the way, saved India's follow-on in Brisbane, right? With Akashdeep. वो भी किया उसने. Batting भी कर दिया. Bowling भी कर दिया. अभी तो और पहला मैच में कैप्टेंसी भी कर दिया. तो भाई, it is absolutely Sachin in 90s हो गया है.
You know, Phil Simmons was renowned for his slowest walk back to the pavilion. Bumrah's walk, I think, back to the pavilion would probably have been even slower than the slowest of Simmons' walk.
Like, he just didn't. He would be thinking, boss, मेरे को batting क्यों आया?
Yeah,
like, why am I asked to bat?
I think even before he walked back, as he was walking in itself, he didn't have anything left in him, even while he was walking in. And I can imagine how frustrated he must be sitting in the dugout as well, while the other batsmen above him are just falling like 9 pins. And then the moment he came out as well, his shoulders were down. Like, there was no...
Completely. It was down.
Yeah,
you were right. When he walked in, he was like, boss, why am I
क्या करवा रहे हो?
again? But What's not agree with you, PGK?
Which brings me to
So,
PGK. What is your...
No, my thing is that I was also going to say Bumrah, but in a slightly different way. Like, you're all talking about Bumrah from the perspective of, yeah, he was tired, he was spent, he was this thing at the end of Bumrah. That's all correct. It's all true. I think two things stood out to me. I'll remember in this match. First is the experience of watching Bumrah live. I mean,
Oh, man.
a lot of people, like, I have watched Bumrah on TV for years, okay, but Bumrah live is a force of nature. That's the only way I can describe it. Like that day 4 morning, especially when he comes in, it was that air of inevitability that sweeps through the entire stadium when Bumrah comes into bowl. Like anybody else comes into bowl, if you notice, the crowd was reacting in their own way. When Siraj comes into bowl, they're bowing. When Akashdeep is bowling, well, everybody is like silent because Akashdeep, okay, Akashdeep. Okay. When Jadeja comes into bowl, even Indian supporters are like, okay, all right. But when Bumrah comes into bowl, like there is deathly quiet in the stadium because the Indian supporters know that this is the man,
Kuch ho nahi bana.
and the Australian supporters also know this is the man. And it is that experience of him watching him come run down, and you know that every ball, anything is going to happen right now. And there are times when you knew it is going to happen. When Constance comes out to walk in the second innings, I think every Indian supporter in that stadium knew that he is going to get him. And he's going to get him without anybody's help. He's going to get him alone.
Yep.
And when Head walks out, again, we knew
You know it.
he's going to get him. He's going to get him his own way. So that the inevitability of that, like, when a hurricane comes, it's going to demolish, houses on the coast. It's like that. You're watching a hurricane coming, and that inevitability of watching that live is incredible. It's
Agree.
absolutely incredible. I've never seen that with an Indian bowler ever.
PGK, we must say this, that on all 5 days, we had brilliant seats. I mean, to watch this experience that you talked about, the bounding, the charging away experience. We were on fine leg from one end on 3 days, and we were in the Shane Warne stand, which is fine leg from the other end, on 2 other days. So
I'll say one last thing, which is that the other thing that I'll remember very live is that this always happens when you're watching TV. Sometimes you've seen last wicket stands or tail ender stands against India, and you always get really frustrated sometimes when you're watching it on TV, saying like, "Kya kar rahe ye log?" Captaincy has become very negative. Bowlers kuch same cheez kar rahe. What are you doing? What are you doing? I think I have a very different perspective on the 4th day. That last wicket stand, I was sitting there and watching it very closely because, again, the MCG, like I said, allows you to be immersed in the game. I, as a spectator, could see India do everything that they could do. They were doing everything. They were basically getting Bumrah to bowl. KL Rahul was coming in at first slip with a helmet. Bumrah was bowling slow balls, fast balls, bouncers. They tried a leg side field. They tried an offside field. They tried everything. Like, there are times where you have to accept that. I don't think Boland and Lyon maybe they batted well also, but I also think it was bad luck a little. The ball was old, it couldn't happen. But I didn't get the sense that at the 4th day it was any kind of complacency. I think they tried everything. And I could see sitting the ground that they had tried everything. Like, I couldn't think of what else would you do right now.
Yeah.
Except maybe hopefully if only there was a world-class off-spinner, but that's a different story. We'll leave that. So, okay.
Then I agree. So, which was the point I was making, right, PGK, sitting at home, I will generally judge.
Exactly.
But there was no point of judging because you could see.
Bodhi, you were saying?
Yes, so first to PJK's point about spinners did nothing for us. So what would have...
I was joking, dude. It's like, it's a joke. This podcast is like that. You're new here. Okay, this is just a random...
The wicket was really flat. And coming back to the memories. So let me flip the table once again. Think about from Australia's point of view. Australia couldn't have lost this match. Like, it was out of question. They will lose their way to WTC final maybe. BGT trophy is gone. And after Perth, what happened at Perth, their media was slamming them. So this would have had huge consequences. Then comes a kid, 19-year-old kid, and starts smashing Bumrah and sends him up for 6 over the top of the wicketkeeper. And the crowd just grows crazy. Right? That kind of re-energized the entire team. India's whole match effort was about individual brilliances. Australia's whole match effort was about a collective effort. Everybody was resilient. And to solidify this memory, I went out the next day morning and collected a local tabloid, which had a full page picture of Constas, and the headline was "Slamming Sam." And that will be a memory forever for me. And this young kid was rallying the crowd. The crowd was going Constas, Constas, Constas. Then the Kohli incident happened. So that, I think, re-energized the whole Australian team, as well as it kind of united them. And they never gave up. They never gave up. They kept on fighting.
Bodhi, to talk to, again, this is a nuance that I don't know how much TV would have seen it. I'm sure TV people would have seen it. And that's why it was important to have someone who watched the game on TV here as well. One of the things that I'm just pulling a string from what you said, Bodhi, about collectively Australia played this game much better than India. There was a point after 7 wickets had fallen down in a heap, possible collapse-like situation. Cummins walks in, Bumrah's bowling, and Labuschagne actually protects Bumrah
Exactly.
from protects
Cummins.
from Bumrah.
Then Stark comes in. Cummins starts protecting Stark.
But this is the thing, right? Stark still is okay, but Cummins has an average of 30 plus.
Yes.
For a senior player, for Labuschagne, he himself wasn't playing Bumrah really well.
Yeah.
For him to protect Cummins requires two things. One, this guy saying, "I'll take one for the team." Labu. Labu saying, "I'll take one for the team." Second, it requires Cummins to swallow his own ego, to say, "I can't face this guy at that pace in this spell, so you protect me from Bumrah," even though it might reflect badly on me as a cricketer when people write about this game. He says, "I'm willing to take that."
He's coming off of a 49 in the first innings.
Correct.
So his confidence is up as a batter.
Even when he's up, I think when he was in 30 or something, Bumrah comes back for a spell, same thing happens. He's perfect.
Their gameplay was top notch. They knew Bumrah can only bowl ex-bowlers.
Exactly.
Ex-overs. And then everybody else, like you look at Jaddu, you look at Washington Sundar, you look at Siraj, you look at Akash Deep, they are all, they will get, like, even if Labu gets out, Cummins can, like, thrash and thulp these guys. And, like, वो out हो गया जड्डू के ball पे eventually, but Cummins in his good days, which is what he does generally, when the chips are low, he will come in and he'll put in his captain wala knock. Technique side rako, but he will go ahead and thrash these. He already started thrashing these bowlers.
It was fun.
Very
And
clear.
another point
Labu will take a hit.
Another point, when Lyon and Boland were batting in the last 1 hour, the crowd was going mad. Why are not this guy declaring? We are sure we have enough. Let's go and get them. Like, we were like, okay, okay, we don't want to bat the last 1 hour.
Yeah.
Right? Because
became a
we
game of
might
cat and
be in
mouse.
trouble if we face in this twilight situation and all that. That was our mindset. But the Aussies were like, come on, go get them.
Declare.
Yeah.
Bowl at least 15 overs. Because I met an Aussie friend post-match and he's like, come on, I don't know why Lyon and Ben Boland batted for so long. We should have, at least had a crack of 10 overs today.
Yes.
Why this infatuation with 300? Why not 260? They were going mad at Cummins.
But their strategy worked. Brilliant.
Yeah.
What
It
about you?
worked in hindsight. If
Of
one
course
had
it
not.
does. Of course it.
Yeah, I think the best. I think all of this is true. I think we should talk a little bit about day 3. Day 3 was exceptional.
Moving day.
Moving day. Okay, so for our listeners, we had this joke every morning. We would say that today is the moving day, but actually, day 3 was literally the moving day because
Most moving day.
Yeah, because until that point, day 1 was kind of mixed, but day 2 was quite bad. I think a lot of us left the ground on day 2. If you were an Indian supporter, thinking, okay, you're really behind in this test match.
This is gone.
Yeah. Some of us started making plans what we would do on day 5 because we thought the test match would be over in 4 days, and we're like, okay. Some irrational believers are still there, but day 3 was really special, and I think it was really special because of who did it. And I genuinely think it would have been. I don't think it would have been as special if it was a Kohli or somebody else. I feel like the fact that it was a Nitish Reddy and a Washington Sundar who pulled that off, and I think that was the time where, where it was the highest of the highs. If you're an Indian supporter, the end of day 3, when Indian supporters walked out of the ground, you could see they were walking with wow, we have seen something really special. So I think day 3 was. We should talk a little bit about Nitish Reddy as well.
And yeah, that's true. That's true. And that brings me to my memory, which is around Milan. And actually, two memories, both on the same day. There was a guy sitting in front of us on day 3. Terence, I think his name was, an Aussie guy. We were, of course, Varun Murali and a few others were sledging the Aussies right through, applauding every single defense of Nitish Reddy and this and that, the other. Terence and his dad turned around and asked us, why is Ashwin not in this team?
Yeah,
And
I said you come on the podcast. I was like, what is this? Okay. Even
I forget his
Australians
dad's-
recognize his greatness. If
Yeah,
only
no.
Indians did. But okay, anyway, never mind. Continue. Go on.
But,
Finish.
I forget his dad's name, but he left a bit early, and we call him a legend as he walked away because he was engaged.
Colin, I think it was. Colin.
Colin, indeed, it was Colin. So Colin left, and we call him a legend. Say Colin's a legend, and all that sort of stuff. And these guys were engaging with us right through the day, even though we were sledging them, sledging the Aussies, they sledged back, and it was such the banter was really good right through the day, even when Terence got awfully drunk. So that to me was an amazing day 3, not just because of Nitish, but also people around us. We engaged with them, and it was good fun. But on that next day, Nitin's son, Milan, and his wife were supposed to go and watch the Penguins. They decided not to do that and stay back and watch at least the first session instead. And this kid is quite special. And for me, my lasting memory would be of Milan, really. And there was a time when nothing was happening, and I said, "Hey, why don't we meditate and let's see if that'll manifest a wicket." And he just took it on, and he just closed his eyes and started doing type of thing. And I said, "Hey, open your eyes and watch the game at least." And he immediately opened his eyes and started watching the game. And he gestured to me and he said, "That's okay. I'm doing Om. What about you?" I said, "Okay, even I'll do Om." And I started, meditating as Bumrah came into board. And bang, there was a wicket. And then another one. He was so happy. He was so incredibly joyous. And then at the end, I guess he was heartbroken. And not because India lost, but it happened when the DRS decision was given. He just couldn't understand how that could be given out. On the ground, it just didn't make sense at all. On TV, it may have made sense. I don't know. But on the ground, there was absolutely no sense that he could make from that. And of course, the poor lad, he was only 9 years old, crying uncontrollably when all the uncles around him were going, cheat, umpires a cheat. And that realized that he was crying. And poor Nitin was trying to console him and use this to hit the rough with the serious fight and all that sort of stuff. Feeling aggrieved and feeling hurt and feeling done by and all that sort of stuff.
Was this his first live test match experience?
I believe so.
What an experience, man.
What
an experience.
Unbelievable.
First game.
Unbelievable. I mean, not just the involvement and the engagement.
Yeah.
And he was completely involved. He's completely engaged in all 5 days. He went away to watch the Penguins for maybe 2 sessions, but still so engaged, so involved, and even without people of his own age and so on. So that was really quite special from my point of view. And every time, this is another thing, right? A kid rarely likes to share popcorn and chips and all that sort of stuff. Every time a chips packet went to him, he'd take 1 or 2 and pass it on. That generosity. That's all part of my memory for me from this. Okay.
Oh, so on Milan's wonderful kid, made our experience amazing. Moving to the NKR innings, I think if I had to take one person as equal to what Bumrah was doing, or even close to what Bumrah was trying to do, it was NKR.
In the India team.
In the India team today, in this test match. And what he has done for us, at least has made one thing very sure, that he could walk into this team as a specialist batsman. Not because of the runs that he scored, but and which is again goes back to the experience of watching something live. Like his game outside of off stump of leaving balls on length is immaculate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is not about the shots he plays. It is not about the runs he has scored. It is not about his aggression. It is just his grit to leave balls. He was leaving balls with Siraj on the other end, right? When he was on 95, 96, right? Mm-hmm. Because his game plan was very simple. I'm not going to play balls outside. I will let you come towards me. And when you come towards me, I will hit you. Because Boland, right, who was basically their workhorse, right, who was literally going through the day, because that's what Australia does. So Boland keeps bowling or Lion keeps bowling, and then Star can comes in, puts in some thrust, and then goes away, right? So Boland is a workhorse, and we could see that, right? And Boland's game is purely about continuously bowling outside of stump. NKR didn't touch a ball. He's like, I'm not gonna play you, brother. You come to me. And the moment Boland comes in, either on stumps or on his legs, he'll hit him. And when he hits it very hard. He is not somebody who is just looking to take a single or double. When he hits, he's aiming for a boundary. So either he's not playing a ball or he's playing a boundary, and that maybe it's his proper second or third innings of sorts in Australia when you're 350 behind.
Amazing.
Is an innings of ease, not because of the boundary, obviously not because of the century, but obviously when the century happened, we all were like in tears, right? We were like going crazy. The entire ground was going crazy. But that innings, to me, it actually demoralized Australia to a very large degree. To that extent that they kept when Bumrah came back on fourth day and took all those wickets, we got to thank NKR for that, because he literally made them toil through the day, and obviously Washi along with him and so on and so forth. So so that was a match, like I would say, match winning innings for the way I look at it. Had we not made some of these simple errors, like sending Akashdeep as a night watchman, I don't know why we even send somebody like as a night watchman and so on and so forth. If we had not made these errors, maybe we could have made even more runs, because he literally ran out of partners, right? That's what happened.
Yeah.
So maybe for me, I think NKR should start moving up the order and start batting where
The only
very
the only
deserved.
reason we got to that position where we were on day 5 was because of his innings.
Of
So I'm
And
sure
Washi,
like
let's not
Australia,
forget.
yeah, but like I'm thinking,
No, we will
Australia's
forget
just-
Washi. Don't forget.
but no, Washi's innings was excellent as well. I mean, I'm sure there's like Washi. The Australian team has experienced Washi the last time, right? They've seen what he's capable of. But I'm sure they're just going in their minds ki like ये लोग लाते कहाँ से ऐसे लोग like NKR, like where does he come from now? We thought we had seen the back of people like Pujara, Rahane, Kohli's having a bad time.
Shardul,
Rogro's
why
not able
is
to
no one
play.
mentioning Shardul?
Yeah, I just don't
I
understand.
mean, seriously.
Sorry, I will just say, Vishal, they're probably thinking two things. They are thinking ये लोग लाते कहाँ से. We are thinking जो लोग हैं वो जाते क्यों नहीं.
जाते कहाँ
So,
Correct.
it's both.
Correct. Like
Sorry,
exactly.
our batting starts at number 5, number
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Like ये हमारा batting है.
Yeah.
Like 1 to 4 पता नहीं किधर चले गए. हाँ, कहाँ है?
जाते क्यों नहीं?
उनको पता नहीं.
Why are they not going out of the team? We are not understanding. Anyway, sorry, Vishal, go on.
Every single person who's been in the batting order seems to be doing a job that they were not hired for. Like they all seem to be doing like different things. Like a middle order batter is having to play the anchoring innings up top. Like a lower order batter is having to like save, and not go for the shots and just hang in there as opposed to like going for the shots and things. So like our
Someone
top
else
order
is doing
obviously-
captaincy. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
ये भी हो रहा था.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
was also egging Siraj on to take wickets, right? Because Siraj needed that boost. So Kohli running that show helped India a lot to a large degree. Was also helping to just pull the team together, because Rohit Sharma was clearly struck.
Are you pulling this conversation into an area that you would like in a Machiavellian way towards where you would like it to go?
As a profession, I am a product manager. I generally take conversations into a certain direction where I want the outcome to be favorable.
It's
That's what I
it's a
thought you were
moving
doing. I
session.
just-
Yeah, it's a moving session. Let's do
This
it.
is a moving discussion. This discussion is moving towards something.
We will get there because
No, you let me share my memories. No, why not?
Hell, you have done it.
No,
How many memories will you
I
share?
have many memories. Okay. Yeah,
So-
go on.
Inevitably, we have to talk about the Kohli.
So last thing, we'll talk about Kohli,
go
but
on.
I'll also say that we spoke a lot about the MCG, but one thing that again, listeners don't know
SCG.
this, but the MCG is actually a massive ground, one of the biggest grounds in the world, and somehow it just feels more intimate than, at least I've attended the Chinnaswamy, which is one of the smallest grounds around. It feels more intimate than the Chinnaswamy. Like you could actually see players' expressions. You could see when Iman is saying that Kohli has taken over, you could see it. It's apparent.
सुनाई देता था.
Okay.
Almost
It's
सुनाई देता
almost
था.
like you could listen to them. It was like that, and incredible to witness that.
So one point which Vishal was making, the lower order and the middle order. Yeah, Vishal, that's true for the last 5 years if you look at it. अपना top order कुछ नहीं करता. So I think this is a learning for Australia. The Australian team, they are missing the trick right there. they are going full Monty, right, on the first to get our first 5 batsmen out. That's the mistake. Don't do
That's
that.
not the
Let
yeah.
Labuschagne bowl to somebody like Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli. Yeah, उसको बाहर ही ball करना है.
Save
तो
your
Labuschagne से
Bolins and the
bowling कराओ.
likes
Yeah,
for your
save.
Washi and NKR
Correct.
and these guys.
Save
Yeah.
your energy. Like Cummins should not be bowling himself out. Like वो tired हो जा रहा है. By the time what happened? By the time Washi and NKR came, these guys are like smashed. खत्म. वो स्टार का अपना 5th spell पे आया है. क्यों? जरूरत ही नहीं. रोहित शर्मा को तो कुछ भी बॉल करो. क्या बॉल करना है? तुमको बस 110 के ऊपर बॉल डालना है. आउट हो जाएगा. कोहली को कुछ नहीं. कोहली को ऐसे आंख बंद करो और 5th स्टंप में फेंक दो. कोहली आउट हो जाएगा. कोई भी फेंक. Kohli is not looking at the bowler. He's not looking at the ball. He's looking at उसको out होना है.
Yeah, you don't even need a bowler for Kohli. Just a bowling machine. Just bowl on the 6th
Yeah,
line.
is it-
get out.
is
Correct.
it
या फिर
ever
umpire से bowling
more-
करवा लो.
Is there ever more apparent about Kohli's weakness? I mean, people are arguing in all kinds of things. Oh, his reflex have not slowed down. Some control percentage, some bullshit. Oh, whatever. But he's getting out in one way. Like, I mean, you can't run away from that. No, it's not once,
Correct.
it's not twice. It's been a while now. So,
Correct. So
You
that reminds me of a situation where in our stand there was a person, right, who was walking around with a placard saying, if Rohit Sharma hits a 50, free beers for everybody.
yeah.
He was confident you never need to spend your dollar.
Correct.
That's
तो
what
उसने उसमें बोला कि if Rohit Sharma hits 100, I'll give whiskey. ऐसा ही बोल दिया उसने. मैं सोच रहा था कि एक placard ले घूमूंगा कि if Kohli gets out in any other fashion other than getting caught behind,
Dismissal.
$1,000 per head. मैं ये तो बोलने वाला था. एक hit wicket हो जाए, run out हो जाए, bowled हो जाए, ऊपर चढ़ जाए ball, कुछ भी out हो जाए, right? Time out हो जाए, कुछ भी. Any other way. Chance ही नहीं है boss. मुझे लग रहा कभी-कभी ऑस्ट्रेलिया टीम if they have to figure out a way to get Kohli dismissed, let the umpire bowl.
But outside off stump.
Of course, it is. Because that is the moving length.
no,
You
I
have
think,
to move
see,
there.
the thing with, so we're talking about Kohli, let's talk about Kohli for a second, okay? So, in the past, whenever people have talked about Kohli like this, like, oh, Kohli keeps getting out in the Australia, which we've been discussing for like 2-3 years now, right? The counter argument has always been, look, that is true, he gets out there, but remember that Kohli also scores runs there. So,
Correct.
it is almost like a percentage thing for him.
Correct,
That,
correct.
So, I mean, I used to disagree with this thing where people used to bring up the famous Sachin innings at SCG and say, look, why can't Kohli also cut out the cover drive? Why can't he also play like that so that he removes that thing? Then the argument was always like, but he scores runs there. So obviously it looks more this thing when
Yeah.
he gets out there. Now I'm not so sure. Now I'm like,
No,
is he even scoring runs there? It's not very apparent to me that he's scoring
No.
runs there either.
Okay, how did second innings when Stark dismissed him?
Yeah.
It was a ball and Stark was like अंधा bowling करूंगा या out हो जाएगा.
Correct.
कोई बात नहीं है. Lunch है.
सबको
next
पता है.
overs.
Everyone
हाँ, bowling
knows.
करेगा या out होगा. ये touch
पूरा-
करेगा. और अरे हंस रहा
All
है.
the bowlers are in a WhatsApp group across the world and they're like, how to bowl to
Correct.
Kohli? हाँ यही है ना. सबको
मुझे
पता
लगता
है.
है उस वो WhatsApp group का admin कौन होगा?
I don't know, but
Ashwini होगा ना.
somebody who's got a lot of time on his hands at this time.
हाँ,
And,
वो अलग चल रहा है उतना.
शायद.
I don't know what is. I mean, technical weakness also, but whatever, right? You're getting out that way now, right? Matlab, it's apparent. Shouldn't it be apparent by now?
Right. Okay, guys, can we talk about last day?
No.
And strategy? No, I do want to talk about this. The last day and strategy of India. What did you think? PGK, because we were just observing the game, we were watching it, we were involved, we were invested in it. What was PGK start with? What was India's strategy on the last day?
No, I'll say a
Quick
few
thoughts.
things. Okay, number one is that the last
And-
day essentially went through a very sea of emotions. Like, of course, very cliche to say that Test cricket is life, but in really
Yeah.
last day you realize that because
Correct.
you started off the morning. At least I started on the morning with a lot of hope. I was like, look, they will chase this down. They'll do something, right? And then they tried, they built a platform. The run rate was a little slow, but I was the one who was telling everyone around people, don't worry, it's okay. They have not lost wicket. It's okay. The run
Can I
rate is
stop you?
slow.
I'll just stop you
Yes.
there. I'll stop you there. So you're talking about building a platform, run rate being slow.
No, I am
Correct.
not talking. Rohit
No,
Sharma
let's
said. Rohit Sharma said we wanted to build a platform.
Okay,
So I'm
that's
like,
fine.
okay, fine.
Now, that is a strategy, right? If that's okay. It's extremely valid as a strategy. Wait,
Everything,
let me just-
everything is a
let me
strategy in
just pause.
hindsight. Okay.
Okay, let me
no.
pose it. Even during the game, it seemed like that was a strategy. You're building a platform, you're defending, you're making your wickets, you're holding it with a view to perhaps launching from there.
Sure.
Now, if that is the case, where KL Rahul was the best batsman that you've had for holding an end up and building a platform along with SSV, if that was the strategy, should Rohit have come in to open?
No, fair. I'll come to all the decisions,
Right.
okay?
No,
I'll come to all the
that's the
weird
thing.
decisions that Indian batters made, but I'll just talk about the sea of
Exactly.
emotions first. First was,
Right.
we started off by saying they'll go for the win. At the end of first session, we were like, okay, they haven't lost wickets. No, actually, they lost wickets. So
They did.
then we were like, okay, but the run rate is also bad, wickets also bad. Now, please hold on, right?
Oh.
Then they held on. So by the tea, I think most people, at least us, we were switched off. We were happy. We were telling other people, it's okay, it's a draw. It's a little bit like life, right? You go for the win. Sometimes you don't. Then you are happy that, okay, at least the loss is avoided. It's fine. We take it to Sydney. It's all right. Then suddenly in the end, when the wickets start falling, then again we're like, oh shit, now are we losing this? Now can we take the draw back again? The draw looks so amazing from now. So you're really rewiring your own expectations of outcomes live as you're watching it, which is fantastic, right? It's very hard to do that on TV with Dream 11 ads in the middle. Okay, but here it's like you're doing it live, so it feels good, right? So that's one.
PGK, you're talking about emotions that we felt as observers.
Yeah. Now I'll come to decisions. Now I'm coming to decisions.
Now,
Okay, now the thing is that I felt there were all very strange decisions throughout. Okay, number one, fair. You could argue that Rohit did not have to open. Okay, KL could have gone. I think number two, again, why is Kohli going and playing that shot? You could say on this day of all days, he could have chosen not to play shots like that. You could argue that Jaiswal, fine, whatever the umpire's decision is, did you have to hook that short ball? It was obviously a trap. Rishabh Pant, who had played really well until that point in time, to Travis said, it was clear India was not going for the win at that point. Did you have to do the slog sweep? No idea. So, and then of course, you come to the end where nobody is, Washington Sundar and everybody else is not defending the tailenders. The tailenders are getting balls from everyone. Cummins, Boland, Stark, Lyon, everyone.
Pehla ball was single ले लिया.
Pehle balls a single ले लिया. Lyon is coming and bowling to Siraj, and everyone around us is like, Siraj can't play spin. Everyone is looking at each other, and he could not play spin. So, very strange decision making throughout the second innings. Fine, I don't know if it would have changed the outcome, but whatever I saw, it's a contrast to day 4. Like earlier in this podcast, I said that in day 4, in the end, you could see the Indian team was trying everything and not getting the results. Here it was the exact opposite. You could see that they were not trying anything.
No, they did. But what it seemed to me was that the team was completely schizophrenic. It was trying to do something with something else.
No, but I don't know what they were trying. What were you trying?
Theory on that.
So if you talk everything, right? If you talk about building an innings, but they sent Rohit Sharma, who's a smasher, right? He can't build an innings.
So that's fine. No,
especially
Rohit can smash.
No, but he didn't smash either.
No, Rohit can smash.
But he didn't smash either.
Yes, hold.
Right. So this is
We arrived in the morning, right? The industry will be a holder.
correct. But if you want,
Like the Pujara that we wanted.
if you want to send him as a smasher, he smashed nothing apart from air.
No, Hank. Schizophrenic means that you're saying some things made a lot of sense, some things made no sense. I am saying I don't see what made sense here. Like all
It makes
decision making.
sense to have Yashasvi and Rohit if Rohit was going to smash. But wo bhi nahi kiya.
I mean, again, I'm
So,
just saying all
I
decision
think-
making was weird throughout.
I say
Okay,
That's essentially what.
in cases like, see, this is my theory. I could be absolutely wrong. See, the generally. So the target was chaseable. Number one, we all agree. But I think Gambhir would have said पहले ही कि यार
Different.
हम defend करते हैं.
करते हैं. ठीक है.
The moment you put that kind of a decision structure in,
Can I say something which Tony will be very happy about?
which is
Shaz
Shaz
scored
scored
great.
later.
100%. Shastri होता तो ये match we had have won. There's no question.
Exactly. So
Just by the way, same team replace Gambhir with Shastri and we win the match.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Because if you tell a team of 11 players, yeah, we are going for a draw, even if the target looks achievable, the player is confused. क्योंकि उसको पता ही नहीं करना क्या है. None of them had a plan.
see, you have a way with words. I said schizophrenic and you said confused.
Schizophrenic मतलब आपने schizophrenic मतलब कभी-कभी सच हो जाता है. मैं तो बोला एक भी सही नहीं, confused है. मतलब बराबर ना.
Exactly.
मैं थोड़ा सा change किया उसको.
Change it.
Moving.
I feel, I
Moving
don't
the
know.
ball.
I think them starting off slow, okay? They did like some 16 overs, make kuch 25 for no loss. Even we were talking
20
like
was
see off.
42. 20, 42.
हाँ, something.
16 over 25 रन था. 16 over
Yeah,
25
something
रन
like
सही.
that. Like
Pakistan, सही बोल रही है.
start के half an hour तुम निकाल दो, just see how the pitch is playing. पता चल गया कि the pitch is actually doing nothing, and then you've set your batsmen have been set. Then you start going for the shots. So I think there's a
16 पर 25 नहीं
possibility.
चलता है दोस्त. एक मिनट. Even before that, I don't think 16 by 25 is the start that you need.
I agree.
You don't.
Even if you're going for a
Absolutely.
strategy
Because the
where you
pitch
just want to
you
start
are
slow.
seeing. Lyon and Boland made you toil
Pitch
entire
was very
day.
clearly not doing anything.
Huh.
Correct.
And then when you start, if you remember Gabba, Gill went bonkers very early.
Correct.
And by bonkers, I mean 3-4 runs and over.
Steady. He was
Correct.
doing steady.
3-4 runs and over ही बोल रहा हूँ मैं 1 run and over नहीं बोल रहा हूँ.
Correct.
Exactly.
1
Correct.
run and over चल रहा था.
No, Vishal, that's the
Correct.
point. If you wanted 1 run and over, sit here. That's
Yeah,
it.
I think we crossed a run rate of 2 after like a lot of overs also, I remember.
25 overs.
Like,
Yes.
it became a
Yes,
thing in the
to
stadium
make
ki now the run rate has gone above 2 and we're like,
Correct.
okay, fine. So
And-
the win
and-
just
and-
completely seems
Sorry
out
to
now.
interrupt, Vishal. I'll just say this: that the run rate, you're right. The run rate crossed 2.
Huh.
At one point, it crosses to 2.1, 2.2. That is when Pant and Jaiswal start going at it.
Thoda,
And then,
yeah.
then that's when I was telling people around me that, now it's going to accelerate. Now
Looks
it's going
like
to
it.
accelerate. Then again,
Yeah.
it comes down. So
Now
clearly,
you
a
put the
message is.
Australian perspective.
Now
Now you
clearly, a
put the
message went
Australian
out saying,
perspective in this.
guys, what are you doing? What are you doing? Who said we're going for it? Everybody calm down again. So again,
There was-
Pant and
there
Jaiswal
was a
stop,
very-
slow down.
Exactly. There was a very clever gentleman sitting next to me, occasionally clever, who pulled a chess analogy. It stunned me. It stunned me because I was thinking, ये बंदा कैसे? I mean, मतलब कहाँ से निकाला इसको? तो I forget. Do you know who it was?
Just me.
तो बताओ.
Yeah, so मैं ये कह रहा था कि even if India had gone for a strategy to draw the match, you do not open up your cards so early to
Exactly.
your opponents to say कि यार मैं draw के लिए खेल रहा हूँ. Because if you do that, then the opponent generally will manifest a way to get you out.
Correct.
See, when Rohit Sharma and Yashasvi Jaiswal started slow, Australia knew we are playing for draw.
Correct.
Even if actually nahi, they were guessing two things: either we are playing for draw or they'll start attacking now. Abhi to time aa gaya hai. We have hit 4.5, 5 runs and over.
Correct.
And you would have seen the way Cummins started splitting the field. उसने क्या किया? पीछे ले लिया रोहित शर्मा के लिए.
Correct.
ले लिया उसने पीछे कि ये मारने जाएगा और हाइक करेगा वहां पे आउट हो जाएगा.
Correct.
रोहित शर्मा
Same
का
like
एक
the World
shot
Cup
उन्होंने
final, same thing.
Correct.
He did the same
Yeah.
thing.
पीछे ले लिया. उसको बेसिकली ही वाज प्रेडिक्टिंग उस टाइम पे कि शायद अब चालू करेगा मारना. तो
Correct.
पीछे ले लो ना. Then you do in out fields. उन्हें in out
Correct.
field कर दिया. It is a game of cat and mouse. तो अगर even if you're going for a draw, you cannot make it so obvious. तुम अपना hence goes back to if had it been Shastri, right? Shastri पहले से बोलता है कि play your national game. देखा जाएगा क्या होता है. We don't know if we're going for a draw or a win. We are playing our national game. We will see as it comes. Generally, you take these games. You don't play defensive. You play your national game, and then you decide if you're going for a win or a draw in the third session.
And
That is
especially,
गौतम कबीर ना पढ़ाई लिखाई ना नहीं पढ़ाई लिखाई नहीं किया यार उसने एकदम ही गया गुजरात में. तो उसको क्रिकेट का मतलब ठीक है his selection choices we have to give it to him because Washi and NKR, yeah, it is his, right?
Yeah,
but his game strategy is nowhere there, right? So and now if you think of it, right, so when Australia were guessing कि attack कर रहा है कि नहीं कर रहा है, वो वाला phase हो गया. When Rishabh Pant and Yashasvi Jaiswal dropped anchors and they were only defending, Australia was very clear कि बॉस अपने को फटाफट जो है लास्ट सेशन में जब मूवमेंट चालू होगा अपने को न्यू बॉल जल्दी से लेके
that's how Travis had come in. Just
Travis
expressly
आ
for
गया.
that reason.
Correct. आ गया. So you have basically opened up your cards in front of a team.
So essentially the thing is, even if Travis had bowls, they know he's not going to attack. But attack कर लिया.
Yeah.
He's tried to do
Unexpected.
some ego thing. And of course, at that point in time, you bring everyone into the game. Constance is nibbing.
Tell me instances where a team is trying to defend for their life and the other team has not been able to do it.
Doesn't work.
Correct.
Because
Absolutely.
those are stories of
मुश्किल है.
grit, right? Vihari and Ashwin did it.
Sydney.
Correct.
Very rare. नहीं होता है. And that too उसमें manifest करवाना होता है.
And of all people, India know this because
Yes.
hundreds of teams have tried this in India on Indian
नहीं
pitches.
होता है.
नहीं होता. You know you will get them. You try.
Yes.
You put shut shop. We will get you.
Yes.
It's same thing.
Something
Like-
or the other will happen. There is always a final quest.
So which
India,
is why the strategy always is to play a natural
So are
game.
we saying that Gautam Gambhir का मतलब कुछ
नहीं वो तो अभी चल रहा है.
चल रहा है?
Sorry, Bodhi को
Hey, but sorry, yeah, both of you go.
yeah. So India did nothing to force Australia to react in the
Exactly.
second innings.
That's-
The first hour, I can give it to them. Okay, let's see, go out whether ball is doing something or not. Let's watch out the final over. Then we will decide how it's going. But after that, they kept on seesawing between should we defend, should we go for it. Then again, let's defend. Then suddenly Pant comes out after T. I don't know what was that shot. Then again we started defending. Then our the so-called tail enders, whether to put them on strike or not. There was no decision making.
And I completely agree with Iman simply because there's actually evidence for this. I mean, after the 2020-2021 win, right, the BGT win at the GABA, there are like some 17 fucking documentaries made of that win. All of them are bad, okay? But the one thing that is common is when they interview all those players, right, on that last day, and they always, the question is this post of, when did you decide to go for the win? Nobody gives a clear answer. Nobody says, time pe humne decide kiya. Or nobody says, in the morning we woke up and said, we will go for the win. Now, they can say all that. The win is done. They can tell whatever narrative they want. But nobody says that. Everyone is like, no, we were just playing. We were just playing. We were like, Pant is batting. Pata nahi kya hoga. At some point, they're like, oh, Pant is going for it. Now, joining. Oh, we are going. Now we are going for it. It's like that. It's an organic thing. Iman is 100% correct about that.
It is both for your team and for the opponent as well. For the opponent, you cannot make it clear. But if you make it clear, I am going for it, I will put a defensive field.
Exactly.
Because it is a test match. I can take everybody back.
Exactly.
Right?
This strategy, do you think Nitin would have agreed with you?
Nitin,
No.
okay.
0% agree with me.
Which is why...
No person agree with you, Nitin.
Which brings us back to
But you point to complete कर लेना यार. It was a nuanced point बोल रहा था.
nuance.
Bolo. I'm with you, Iman.
If you had made it very clear पहला बॉल से कि I am going for the win, ऑस्ट्रेलिया सब पीछे फील्डर ले लेगा.
Correct.
तुम उसमें आउट हो जाएगा. अगर तुमने बहुत क्लियर कर दिया कि I am going for a draw, सब आगे ले लेगा. तो boss, you cannot open any card. It is a game of chess. Even if I am playing attacking, I will make it look like I am playing a defensive game. I cannot open all my cards. Which is why at the crease, you always have an attacking batsman and a defensive batsman. Which is why you have somebody like a Pujara come in, play a sheet, like the anchor role, and everybody plays around him.
Yeah,
correct.
Yashasvi Jaiswal was that guy for us today in this match. And he did his job. Baki sab hagga macha diya.
Like especially, Rohit Sharma.
Bullshit. Like Virat Kohli, itna kharab batting.
So guys, we are not talking about Virat Kohli's bump into conscious. Many people have said much about it. We're not talking about Gavaskar's stupid.
No, that's because we didn't listen to it. We should not talk about it. We did not listen to it, so we absolutely should not talk about it.
Right?
Yeah.
आप ये सब क्यों बोल रहे हो?
We're not talking about any of
we
those.
We were privileged not to listen to it. We paid thousands of rupees to not listen to it. So it's okay.
Be inside the stadium and experience. And so I'm bringing it back to experience. Before doing that, and I want to round this off in 5 minutes or so. But before doing that, do we need to discuss the Sydney?
Of course we do. Of course.
I knew the answer, but I had to ask it.
That's fine.
So guys, are we all aligned that Rohit is retiring?
Post Sydney.
When? Post or pre?
I think pre-Sydney.
Yeah.
No, not pre. Post Sydney.
Same.
I think he will post Sydney, but he should pre Sydney.
Could we manifest a headache in the calf?
Maybe he gets some headache.
Some headache in the calf, specifically.
I mean, look,
Medics.
Medics is better.
Guys, we can either discuss what we want or we can discuss what's likely going to happen.
Okay, what is likely?
What's likely?
Okay, let's talk about what's likely going to happen. I think Bodhi is correct. What's likely going to happen is they're going to play the same team.
Same. I also think
they have to win the last test.
Yeah.
But not because they want to or they have a strategy, but we don't have any
They have no choices.
They have no choices left.
We've painted ourselves into a very, very black corner.
That also puts forward a strong message to the Australian team. Here we trust this team and this team will win. उल्टा है यार, इसीलिए I need शास्त्री होता तो नहीं बोल देता, वो आके पहले ही टीम अनाउंस कर देता, प्लेइंग 11 ही कर देता शायद तक, फिर आपको थोड़ा दिखाएगा ना आपका साथ
आज थोड़ा पीके खोल देता,
नहीं पहले करता हूँ,
पहले फिर बाद में पीता,
पार्टी करेगा ना, फिर कैसे वो करेगा.
But do you guys agree that Rohit Sharma has done enough for Indian cricket to deserve this one last chance to redeem himself a little bit?
He's not going to wait. First of all, this team is not going to redeem itself at all in Sydney. I believe, in fact, Bumrah will probably, if he doesn't have the captaincy, he'll just go through the motion, is my view. I think I saw him walk back. We all saw him walk back to the pavilion. His mind is not in the game. His body is not in the game. I don't know if he will be.
So you mean to say if Bumrah is not giving the captaincy, he would not be like 110%?
No, I'm saying if he's given the captaincy, it'll be a very different Bumrah. But otherwise, he'll just rock up and just bowl. He'll just bowl. Okay, right? Of course, he's going to be a professional. He's going to do the right thing and all that sort of stuff. But I just don't think this team has got any steam left in it.
But that's fine. But do you think Rohit Sharma deserves another match?
I don't believe in this word deserve at all.
Okay.
Right? No one deserves anything. Right? No one deserves. You only deserve what you're worth. Right? So this deserves a farewell test and all that sort of stuff. This all kind of way too emotional.
Nonsense.
I think.
I wouldn't go to the extent of calling it nonsense. You would, but
Wait, one second. Let's discuss likely squad before we get into what we want.
Correct.
Likely squad. Here is my likely squad. I think I agree. I think there is a 70% chance they'll play the same team. I feel one thing they may do is they may replace one of the seamers. So perhaps Siraj with Harshit or maybe Prasidh. Maybe. They
problem
already
with
have
that-
2 spinners. Sydney is a 2-spinner pitch. I don't see. Maybe they can replace one with Harshit. That's the max they will do. I don't
one
think they can
spinner
do it.
with Harshit.
No,
Sorry, one
seamers.
seamer with Harshit.
Siraj
And-
with.
And Rohit Sharma opens again.
Rohit Sharma will open again.
Yeah, I also think the same. I don't think they'll take away Siraj unless Siraj says I am done. But basically, I am like drained absolutely. He could be drained because he's the one who bowled a lot of overs.
Could be.
So unless he says that, I don't think there will be a change because he did well, like decently well for his
fair.
abilities. For his
In
abilities.
the second inning.
The problem is his abilities are very low. It's like वो मतलब बहुत कस के सेकंड डिवीजन में पास करेगा तो माँ बाप खुश हो जाता है सेकंड डिवीजन में है मेरा बेटा पास कर
No.
Siraj is that.
I'll tell you, no, he's one of those players who's what they call a low floor, high ceiling player. You know, when he fires, he will give you a very high ceiling, but when he loses, he has a very low floor. Like, it's that
Is this a
kind of.
2x2?
I
don't
guess like
think
this or like
Siraj-
this. Like
First of
Harshit
all,
is
I
a
don't
low
think-
ceiling, low floor player from what little we have seen of Harshit. Right?
हाँ,
So
low
it's like-
ceiling, low floor, same. Siraj भी low ceiling, low floor.
Akashdeep, low ceiling, low floor player.
Same. Siraj, Akashdeep,
Low ceiling, high
Harshit,
floor, sorry, हाँ.
एक ही थाली के,
हाँ.
एक ही थाली के. मतलब ये वही फटा हुआ थाली के चट्टे बट्टे हैं. They are मतलब they cannot help you win matches. They will never let you lose matches because वो कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते. वो
Exactly.
इसके ऐसे बेकार. तो
Exactly.
सिराज तो खैर ठीक है यार मतलब रख लो मतलब you change सिराज with कोई पोटैटो वाला सीन सिराज को
Correct.
तुम हर्षित से बदल दो हर्षित को प्रसिद्ध कृष्णा से बदल दो थोड़ा हाइट बढ़ जाएगा बॉलिंग तो वैसे ही करने हैं उनको एनीवे
हाँ.
वो otherwise other than think that unless Gautam Gambhir is like extremely furious and like boss I got to redeem myself and all of that if he does that then Rohit Sharma is out and Gill comes in KL opens.
But PGK, isn't Harshit Rana another all-rounder?
That Gautam Gambhir, 4 all-rounders now. Very good. I love it. Gautam Gambhir loves all all-rounders except the number 1 ranked all-rounder in 2024. But
There
sure,
we go.
let's not talk about that right now.
I'm not sure. I think Vamu's come in, so he can just come in and say a few words. But
No,
anyway,
don't let him.
don't listen. I don't think we should.
Yeah.
Just lock the door, PGK, please.
It's locked only.
I'll lock it. Okay, so no change to our team. I think, unfortunately, Australia is going to strengthen their team by replacing Mitch Marsh with Bo Webster, who might come in.
Who is Bo Webster?
He's an all-rounder.
Then obviously it will.
Anything on Mitch Marsh is
I
an
don't
improvement.
think so. I think
I
they
don't
seem
think
to
so.
have a
They'll
lot
play
of
the same
faith
team.
in- They
Yeah,
seem to
they'll
have a
play
lot
the
of
same
faith
Mitch
in
Marsh,
Marsh.
did he do anything in this game?
Of course, he took Pun's catch.
Yeah. Okay. But apart
Okay.
Two
you
important
tell me,
catches
what
and
is Virat Kohli
stuff, but
you can't replace Virat Kohli and Robro. That's the point. We would love to replace Robro for the Sydney Test because you would like him to have a headache in the buttocks.
Correct.
But
Australia will not change a bit of this team because this team has come together.
I
They don't want to change the
agree.
combination. There's no
Fully
for no reason. So this is like again, Mitch Marsh हो या वो बेटे जो भी क्या नाम है उसका
Bo.
Webster.
Webster.
वही है ना
Mitch Marsh हो Webster हो both of them are वही.
ये आ गया.
Both of them
Vamu आ गया.
both of them are useless. So
Yo,
they're either
welcome,
not
Vamu.
gonna help win or they're not gonna help lose. तो कुछ भी नहीं करने वाले तो क्यों चेंज करना है? You
अच्छा
just
वो-
for the heck of
अच्छा ये
saying
सब
it.
ठीक है
You can
इस
speak.
कमीने से पूछो अभी इसको लेके आओ Bring him in
लेके
with us.
आजा.
Vamu, do you have share your thoughts for Sydney 11?
You stand there.
Straight. You sit.
Come just like
By
like
the way, in the
Huh.
pod, we have a new entrant, Varun Murli, our Nostradamus.
correct he
who
is
predicted 4-1 in the series to India.
he's the Tanush Kotian of this podcast. Come down, say you
So
say
we have done everything and we are talking about a team for Sydney, whether any change at all.
I think there will be one change for sure. I think India will possibly play a spinner less and go with
This
Another-
means
Yes, in Sydney.
lesser spinner in
Yeah.
Sydney.
the most spinning wicket, you go with one less spinner.
when has Sydney spun last?
Even
Yo.
last time.
When?
Not last time when India was there.
It's always like a green top. Unless I have a feeling that Australia may roll out an Ahmedabad type pitch at Sydney.
Yeah, I agree.
But,
It'll be on road. They don't need to go for a
but
win.
I don't think
So Prasidh for Washi.
Prasidh or Harshad.
For Washi or Jadeja.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't rate that team highly at all. But I would agree with it simply because the three pace bowlers that we have are likely to be absolutely broken already from, they've just had an immense workload. So I would appreciate some other bowler lifting that load just a little bit. That's other than that.
No, Reddy will bowl more overs. That's all. It's nothing else.
For what joy? I
No,
mean,
that's a separate thing. I'm just
yeah,
telling you
he's
that
not-
what they'll do.
I mean, people,
He's there to
the
bowl some
Australian team
overs if you need
is
to.
celebrating Christmas every day when Reddy bowls. So there's nothing in this bowling, right?
Fine. Okay, chalo. Let's wrap.
So that's the we've discussed everything. We've discussed the team as well for Sydney. I think there was other cricket matches also happening last week,
It's okay.
including Pakistan versus South
Yeah,
Africa
we'll
and
discuss
all that
another
sort of
episode.
stuff. WTC.
As I was
lots of things.
constantly trying to remind everybody during the game that there's an Auckland versus Otago match going on as well, but nobody wanted to.
You
Very
go start
interesting.
another podcast for that. You do that there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will go right away.
But we're not invested in any of that. We've been speaking for about an hour and a half already about our collective memories from the Boxing Day Test match. And I think we have to end by saying that even though we, as in Indian team supporters, feel at a loss to explain what happened, because we lost, but how it happened or why it happened, I think we have to take courage from someone like Milan, who was extremely devastated at the end of the game yesterday, who cried the tears that we couldn't cry, who felt aggrieved that he was wrongly done by, but we couldn't express it in quite the way he could openly express it through tears. But yet, half an hour later, he had forgotten everything, absolutely forgotten everything, and was invested in the walk along the Yara that we undertook on our way to a pub where we drowned our sorrows in a cup of beer or a glass of wine or whatever it is that we drank. I think there itself is my lasting memory from this test match, which I saw with a young 9-year-old who showed all his emotions, but in the end forgot about it and said, okay, the game's over. Life goes on. Let's just enjoy the life and appreciate what we have. And what we have is memories and friendships that we celebrated in this last week. Thank you so much. There's
Thank you.
PGK, Bodhi, Vamu, Iman, who's gone downstairs, Vishal, and myself, Mohan K, saying goodbye. Say goodbye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
TV umpire to director, we have a player review. Can we rock and roll, please?